I'll never forget the morning of Easter Sunday in 2001. Teenage me had grown up as a nominal Christian. That means we went to church as a family, but it was never discussed at home, and the moment I had a choice not to go, I didn't, and no one minded. Teenage me had a fairly normal 1990s experience of adolescence. I enjoyed lads mags like Loaded and FHM, and bought my first pint at a pub at the age of 15, with a great sense of nervousness approaching the bar. Teenage me, now with not much teenage time left, was not expecting what God had planned for him that Sunday morning in 2001. I woke up with a strange compulsion to go to church. When I went, I was blown away by what I heard. I thought I already knew what Christianity was about, that it wasn't interesting and it wasn't relevant. But the message of the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead changed all of that. I discovered that morning that far from being peripheral to life, a hobby for religious types of whom I was not one, Jesus Christ was the author and giver of all life, both today and into eternity. I discovered that my response to him mattered more than any other response to any other person who has ever lived or who will ever live. That hasn't changed. All Christians will find lockdown Easter hard this year. I will especially, because Easter is an anniversary of me beginning my journey to becoming a Christian in more than name only. At the same time, I'm excited about Easter because we need its message now more than ever. Everything has changed in the last few weeks. For me personally, I've had to cancel events I've been planning for months. I've had to stop meeting up with friends. I've had to find new ways of doing what I do and being who I am. That's been hard for all of us. Perhaps the most frightening thing for all of us is the loss of a future. In an age when we're used to knowing how things are going to turn out, the pandemic is frightening because we don't know how things are going to turn out. We're used to feeling in charge of our time, but now we can't make plans beyond the next few weeks, and that's so scary. But one thing never changes. Jesus Christ is on his throne. The grave could not hold the power of his indestructible life. His victory over sin and death is endless. He holds the key to life in all its fullness, still possible in lockdown, and life everlasting. Nothing can change that. Nothing will ever change that. We may not know what the future holds, but we do know the one who holds the future. In the darkest days of Stalinist Russia, Nikolai Ivanovich Bukharin, a leading Soviet intellectual and powerful member of the ruling Politburo, was re-educating a lecture theatre of students on the evils of Christianity. The lecture was a real tour de force of ideology, argument, mockery and insult. After an hour, Bukharin asked his stunned audience if they had any questions. And at that point, an elderly man stood up, clearly nervous. After a pause, he shouted out, "Christ is risen!" To which the whole audience jumped to their feet and roared out the traditional response, "He is risen indeed! Alleluia!" The shout, "Christ is risen," is our battle cry against COVID-19, our roar of defiance and our declaration of God's victory. It's the message that death is dead, love has won, Christ has conquered. If you need hope right now, the risen Christ is the one who can give it to you. And he says to you, "Come and follow me."